A lot. Is your teen considering attending a college outside of Alabama? Well, you need to listen, because if you're looking for additional tuition costs of $15,000 or more per year, that is a big deal if you're looking at something like that. But we have some tips that might help you avoid those additional costs. So I'm sure your interest is piqued now. Here from Potential Magazine, we have publisher Pam Mashburn to tell us more about that. You're all about saving parents money and making sure the kids get a quality education. And for some of them, their dream college might take them out of state.
That's right.
Yeah.
And sometimes it might be cheaper with the incentives that out-of-state colleges give, which is what I want to talk about.
To go out of state?
To go out of
state.
state.
In-state.
Yeah.
Okay, so how does that work?
Okay, so let me back up just a second and say,
okay,
the reason it's so much cheaper in-state is because as a resident, you're paying into the tax base.
Right.
So they get a subsidy. So if you're not, to be a resident, you have to be a resident for 12 months in most states to be considered a resident and to get that in-state tuition.
Okay.
So the first thing I don't want to forget is you might want to think about taking a gap year, and let's say your dream would be to go to Georgia Tech, which is my alma mater.
Yes.
And you want to be an in-state resident because they have the lottery and some other stuff. Well, so you could go over there and work for a year, take a gap year, and even like work on your ACT score to get it up.
I like that. You know, that's one of the schools on the list for my son. Didn't think about that. His father lives in Georgia, so he could live.
He could live there for a year.
Yeah, and say you had a family member or something like that. You could live with them, work for a year. Maybe bring up your ACT score
so that you could qualify for more scholarships. So that's one idea.
Okay.
Okay, the second idea is there is, in certain states, they have waivers. So like if you're, like for instance, in Mississippi a couple of years ago, the legislature, they're trying to attract more STEM students, you know, science, technology, engineering, math students. So if you're studying that and you have a high enough ACT score, and I want to say it depends on the school, but they were given permission to waive the out-of-state tuition. So it might be cheaper for you to go to Mississippi State and study engineering than it might be to study engineering here in the state of Alabama.
But that would, you have to find the criteria, make sure you meet that criteria, and then it could end up being cheaper for you to go out of state in Mississippi than to stay here in Alabama.
Yes, and I know some folks that I just talked to a family here in Montgomery, and their child goes to Southern Miss, and it was cheaper for him to go there because he got more scholarship and it was in-state tuition. He was considered in-state. So look at that. And then in Georgia,
that's interesting.
I know, and I just found out in Georgia, the central, middle, and southern universities have also decided to waive tuition for Alabama students because they think we're so great. So you might want to look at some of those schools as well, especially if you have family members or there's something that you want to study, which leads me to the next thing.
Okay.
There is something that's not known by a lot of people, but your high school counselor should know about it. It's called the Academic Common Market.
Okay.
And the Academic Common Market is for all the southern states, and they basically say, let's say that I want to study, I'll give you one, public affairs journalism.
Okay.
Nobody here in Alabama offers that major. So you could attend the University of Georgia and study that and be eligible for in-state tuition.
Okay.
Now you still have to get admitted, and it's hard to get admissions into University of Georgia. But and another one would be like in Clemson, if you wanted to study parks, recreation, and tourism management. That's not something that's offered here in Alabama, so you could get in-state tuition at Clemson.
So these are very specific majors.
Yes.
But if it's something that you want to do, like say broadcast meteorology,
that's one of them.
Mississippi State, offers that. So and a lot of our meteorologists, they all go to Mississippi State because
I didn't know
that's
that.
why. You know, you can't go anywhere here in Alabama and get that. You have to go to Mississippi State.
So if you want to be just like Amanda Curran, go to Mississippi State.
But you got to get it there.
That's just yeah, that's right. But that's
she said go to Vermont.
Yeah.
But no, we're saying Mississippi State.
But anyway,
closer.
You can go on their website, and I'm sure the producer will probably put it on the screen. But check out their website. It's sreb.org, or just type in Academic Common Market, and then what you'll do is you just say what state you're in, what state you're looking at, or you can put in the major that you're looking at, and you can get a whole list. And that's also for graduate students as well.
And ask your advisor at school about that too. I've never heard of Academic Common Market. Parents, we have to educate ourselves about these things because these are some of the things that maybe our students don't know about, and that's why we love Potential Magazine. Look for the hard copy wherever teens and their parents hang out, but where else can we find it?
Right, potentialmagazine.com, and this article that we just covered is in our latest edition along with a scholarship guide. So it's got a lot of scholarships that are focused on Alabama students. So it's mostly, statewide and regional, not so much like the big national ones.
Yeah,
that
and
everybody
I
has.
love that you mentioned that gap year, because I don't know if it was the Obama daughter taking the year off.
right.
It's made it seem like it's a lot more popular with students now to say, maybe I'm not ready to just jump from high school and go right into college. Maybe I can just take a year off, see what I want to see, maybe travel a little bit.
I think it's really smart.
Yeah.
I have a student that graduated from LAMP last year. She's working full time for me, just exploring some different career opportunities until she goes back.
I
So
think
I
that's
think it's
smart.
really wise.
I do too. Thank you for that information.
Yeah.
I learned something every time you're here.
Oh, thanks,
so good
Tanya.
to see you.